You're on there. It's on.
Go ahead
and hit the gavel. All right, good evening. Lucas is our mayor of the day here today, and we'll talk a little bit more about him in a few minutes here. But I am officially calling the November 17th, 2021 Cottage Grove City Council meeting to order. The next order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and Lucas is going to start us off on that.
Okay, let's do it up.
I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. Okay, and this is where you're going to say, "Will the clerk please do the roll?"
Okay, right now?
Yep.
Sorry.
You don't have to do that, just you talk. No, it's on. Go ahead. Can the clerk please do the roll?
Can the clerk please do the roll?
Councilmember Dennis,
Here.
Councilmember Thiede, Councilmember Olson,
Here.
Mayor Bailey,
Here.
Mayor for the day Lucas Dyert.
Here.
There we go. All right, our next item on our agenda this evening is open forum. This is the opportunity for anybody that wants to speak on something that is not on tonight's agenda is welcome to do so. We did have a sign-up sheet out in the entryway, and we did have 2 individuals that did sign up. And so I'll just go down in that particular order, and if you want to just come up and state your name and address for the record. I'll start with Sharon O'Boyle, and we can go from there.
Thank you. I'm here to speak about Mississippi Dunes and about the preservation.
Absolutely, Sharon, can I have you just state your name and address
Oh,
for the
sorry.
record? No, you're cool.
9300 Gray Cloud Trail South, Gray Cloud Island Township. And for the record, my grandma owned the land that Mississippi Dunes sits on. So it's very dear to my heart. One thing that I noticed when I was reading the EAW was that whoever did the EAW was hired by the owner, and that would to me seem to be a conflict of interest. It's not an impartial EAW, and within that EAW, I noticed some glaring misconceptions that if they had done any sort of research, they would have realized. All that I needed to do was punch in Mississippi Dunes online, and I came up with 2. I knew that what a Scottish type of golf course was, because of having the background with it. Mississippi Dunes, via the Golf Links golf course directory, states that Mississippi Dunes golf course or Golf Links is this. It says the Scottish Links style course was built on a prairie alongside the Mississippi River. So there is no rough, just the natural terrain defining the fairways. The greens are fast and undulating. There are 6 par 3s, 6 par 4s, and 6 par 5s in the design. A difficult par 5 is number 13, which measures 547 yards and requires a tee shot over water to a well-bunkered area. I'm reading this verbatim because I want to make sure that you understand. The 5,848 yard men's tee also has a ladies course rating of 74.9 and a slope of 125. Golf course info: green grass, bent grass is bent grass. Meadow spikes, they allow that. The course type, semi-private, the fairway grass, bent grass. Number of holes, 18, year built, 1995, and then the designer was Dr. William Debler. In another area, with my own words, the housing developer alleges that because the Mississippi Dunes Golf Course was a golf course, that it is more suited to be a housing development than to remain an open space area. They make this allegation based on presumptions and allegations that because it was a golf course, it was, quote, heavily, and this is their words within the EAW, it was, quote, heavily manicured and used a large amount of fertilizer and pesticides, unquote. But if they had truly done any research about this golf course, they would know that it was a Scottish type of golf course.
Sharon, we do limit the time on the open forum to 3 minutes. Do you want to just, you're over the 3 minutes, but do you want to kind of wrap up with?
Okay, I'll wrap
And then I'll
up.
share some info with you.
Okay.
Yep.
So anyway, that means that the land is, which was left in its natural state, which also means that the wildlife has thrived in this habitat, which also includes endangered species. Any, quote, enhancement to the land was minimal. The other thing that I did want to bring up, a couple questions. I know that Cottage Grove has approved a 252-acre land that was open space to become a warehouse, the size of 73 football fields. And if you also allow a housing development, you're taking almost 500 acres of open space instead of making any preservation of open space. The other thing that I wanted to ask a question, what's happening with the arson investigation into the arson of the clubhouse? I haven't found anything online about that. So those were my main topics for tonight.
Thank you, thank you.
You're
And before I call the next person up, because I think that might be on the same thing, Mississippi Dunes? Yep, okay. What I will share with you is that as you're aware, on tonight's consent calendar, we are accepting for publication the EAW. So there is an opportunity, and I want to make sure I'm looking at our attorney and our staff, there will be an opportunity for you to obviously you've asked us questions and we'll be able to respond to those. But if there is any comments, obviously we're taking those comments. And then also I should mention that all of the EAW, when it's released to everybody, it's also released to all the different, I'll call it governmental agencies. So everybody from the DNR to the PCA, all these different people, and they'll be able to interject themselves and
Okay.
share with that info.
And then, Mayor Bailey, will there be an EAW that is done by somebody that is not connected to the city or the developer?
Do you want to speak to that? Our Administrator, Jennifer Levitt.
Mayor, members of the council, before you this evening on your consent calendar is the EAW that was prepared by an approved consultant that the developer did hire. That is standard practice. The city did hire an additional consultant, Bolton and Mink, who you've heard from before. They have reviewed that in great length, and they are our consultant under contract to us. And as always, Mayor, we'll be happy to respond to the residents' questions and provide that formal response.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bonnie Matter? Yep.
I have excuse me, Bonnie Matter, 6649 Inskip Avenue South, Cottage Grove. And I have a couple of procedural questions, I think, is what I have, and we'll go from there. So first of all, on the Mississippi Dunes, on the EAW, I saw that it was on the consent agenda, so that means there will be no discussion tonight, is that correct?
That is, unless a council member would pull it for just conversation, but what we're doing, as I was just mentioning earlier, is we're accepting, between our consultant and the consultant that was hired, we're accepting the information so that it can be published. That's part of the process. And then if we accept it tonight, then it goes out to the public for, I believe it's a 30-day comment period.
And so when it goes out to the public, is it published on the Cottage Grove website, or how does it get?
Well, it's technically out there right now, because it's.
It is.
Well, it is, because it's in our packet, so if you were to go onto our website, it's already
Okay.
out there.
All right.
And then what we will end up doing though is, because obviously some of these government agencies aren't gonna go to our website or anything, so we would acknowledge to them and send it to them so that they can give us feedback.
And so how would the individual residents give feedback?
Do you wanna speak to that real quick?
Mayor, members of the council, as part of this tonight, your action is to allow staff to authorize distribution with the EQB. At that time, it'll be published. We're anticipating the published date of that would be November 29th. At that point, the 30-day comment period would commence. As part of that, on our website, there'll be directions for residents and those that wish to submit comments. There will be a format and a process there that they can find the link on our website to that document.
Thank you, that helps.
Okay, and then I guess if we're not going to be able to comment, and I understand because it's the consent area, I would just like to say that I felt that the traffic study was not robust enough to take into consideration the development that will be butting right up pretty much to Mississippi Dunes. But I guess I'll put that into my comments when it comes out, okay?
Absolutely.
And then my second piece is, tonight there's a workshop that's open to the public. So will there be dialogue? Can we actually talk to you about this, or is this a listening session to
It is
what?
more of a listening session. This is for the council to, I mean, it's open though for the public to listen in and be part of it. It's actually gonna be in our training room.
Oh, it's not going to be recorded? Okay.
Well, no, it won't be recorded.
Okay.
Because what we're gonna do is meet with the developers and North Point in this case to talk about, what do we see, what do they see, to see if we all kind of come to an agreement of what the plan is gonna be for the area.
Okay. And then when does it go to a public hearing?
Is that,
Mayor, members of the council, the
December.
public hearing actually was at the Planning Commission in October. As part of that, it will be at your table on December 15th for final approval related to the master plan and the preliminary plat.
so the public hearing was already at the planning commission. And then what'll happen is, that's usually where it starts. And then it'll come to the council on the 15th, our second meeting in December.
And which planning commission meeting was that exactly?
The 25th? October 25th.
October 25th. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for your help. Thank
You got it.
Let's see.
All right, so there was nobody else that had signed up to speak on an open forum. I just want to check, was there anybody else in the audience that maybe didn't realize they needed to sign up that would like to speak this evening? All right, seeing none, go ahead and gavel. You gavel. Yep. We're gonna go ahead and close the open forum part of our meeting, and we're going to move to number 5, which is adoption of the agenda. You say it.
Adoption of the agenda.
All right, so I need a motion.
Motion to adopt.
We have
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Dennis, second by Councilmember Olson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next we have 2 presentations this evening. The first one, and we'll do a vote before we do the actual presentation, but the first presentation is the appointment of Tony Khambata as a city council member, which I'll be administering the oath of office. But before we do that, and just for the public just aware, we did have 9 people that had applied for the vacant council seat. And the council then proceeded to listen to all of those different members that wanted to be part of our Cottage Grove City Council, and very impressed, I have to say, with all the applicants. And it came down and we chose Tony Khambata to be the upcoming member of the City Council that's filling an unexpired term, which was Councilmember Lorraine Mills. And so what I'm looking for before we move down to the oath of office with Mr. Tony Khambata, I'm looking for a motion to approve the appointment of Tony Khambata as a Cottage Grove City Council member at this point.
So moved.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Olson,
I'll second that.
second by Councilmember Dennis. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Tony, you ready? Sure. Let's head on down front. You want to come? Yeah, you can come with. All right. Testing. Oh, there we go. We got it. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to have you raise your right hand and then just repeat after me. And I promise I'll break this up for you. All right. It says, I, Anthony Khambata,
I, Anthony Khambata,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully execute and discharge
and that I will faithfully execute and discharge
the duties of the office of council member
the duties of the office of council member
for the city of Cottage Grove,
for the city of Cottage Grove,
county of Washington,
county of Washington,
state of Minnesota,
state of Minnesota,
according to law and the best of my judgment and ability.
according to law and the best of my judgment and ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. There you go. All right, there we go. I'm going to hand this off. Does he need to sign that one? All right. So the next thing on our agenda, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, and that is have the distinctive opportunity to offer our students within the city of Cottage Grove, or any youth for that matter, for the city of Cottage Grove, to write an essay about what they want to see or what they like about Cottage Grove, maybe what they don't like, but that's, other than I know this guy here wants a fleet farm in Cottage Grove. But the point of the matter is, Lucas was chosen as our mayor of the day. And so earlier today, what I thought I will do is I'm just going to have Lucas for a second here talk a little bit about his letter that he wrote, and then also maybe can share with the public some of the things that he did today as part of being a mayor for a day. So I'm going to turn over the mic to you. And he loves microphones. I do know that too.
So, about my story, I wrote about pollution and having more access for the people with disabilities. And I was saying how, like, there should be more, like, parks for kids with disabilities, like they shouldn't be left out just because they have disabilities. So I feel that they should start making more playgrounds with access for people with disabilities and that is safe for them so they can have fun too, and they shouldn't be left out just because of that. And I wrote about pollution too, and I hope that there will be no more pollution in the future of Cottage Grove. And I hope that the people stop littering, and like the ponds and waters are clean, and that if everything gets more clean, Cottage Grove will be a safer environment.
There you go. So do you want to share with the public a little bit, or what did you get to do today? What were some of the things that you got to do as mayor of the day?
I got to ride a Zamboni, and then I got to go to the fire station. I got to look at some fire trucks. I got to get inside of one, and then I got to put on some gear, and I got to get on top of one of the fire trucks, which is pretty cool. And then right when we were leaving, a bunch of the fire trucks left. So I'm kind of happy that I got out in time. Otherwise, I'd probably be there too. Probably get stuck there. And then I came here. I rode a snowplow. I got to honk the horn. which was my favorite part about it. And we came back. I checked out the fire department, and I got to see a very cool SWAT car. And then I came back here, and I got to eat pizza, of course. And then I came here, and now I'm talking.
Well, as you could tell, he's an amazing mayor. And we were talking about some of the things that he loves in Cottage Grove, or even some of the things outside of Cottage Grove that he'd like to see here, as I mentioned about a Fleet Farm earlier, too. But Lucas, we want to present you with this plaque. It's a certificate of appreciation presented to Lucas Dyart in sincere appreciation for your service to the city of Cottage Grove, Minnesota, as mayor for a day, this November 17th, 2021, and as your co-mayor. I did sign that document for you. So on behalf of all of us in the city, our staff, and the rest of the council, we want to thank you for your service as mayor of Cottage Grove today. All right, it was funny because he was helping me along on the agenda up here, and he's wiping stuff off. I told him that's what I do. And one last thing I'll mention that was kind of cool. So we did a press conference in the training room, and I was sharing with him as he was reading his essay as part of the, it'll be on cable. I told him, I said, one of the big things you got to do is as you're reading, you definitely have to look up every once in a while just to make sure. And he was really, really good at that. He would stop at a point, look up, and then go back to reading down again. So, but great job, and we appreciate having you. I'm sure we'll see you around town. So now you're a superstar. All right. So I'm going to also hand this to you. Here is your nameplate, so you can take that. I know Mom, I believe, already has the police patch, but keep in touch, and let's see you continue to be involved in the city of Cottage Grove going forward, okay? All right, fantastic. Thank you, buddy. All right, Council?
Thank you, sir.
All right. Now you want to head back by Mom and Dad there? Always fun to have the youth here with us. Our future is definitely bright, looking at some of these kids and what they're writing about and hoping for. Next on our presentations this evening, which is kind of the next big push here, right, Molly? And Molly's going to be here, and this is the Cottage Grove Winter events update, and she's going to take us through some of these events that are going to be going forward here over the next month and a half-ish, so to speak, around the holidays. So Molly, take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor Bailey, members of the council, for inviting us tonight to share. It's kind of become more than just our park and rec programs coming up in the next month and a half, but kind of our city events as we proceed through the holidays. This year I changed it up a little bit because it has been kind of by department. So this year we're going in order of events. So we're going to kind of bop back and forth. But there's some ones coming up right away this weekend that I wanted to make sure people did not miss out on. So our first event is going to be a River Oaks pop-up restaurant that will be happening this Friday down at the Eagles Bar and Grill. They plan on offering 5 special pop-up restaurant events this winter. They are by reservation only, so I did check today. There's still some openings, so I encourage people who are interested to call and make those reservations as early as tomorrow. The menus are going to vary, featuring steak, fish, chicken pasta, and more. And you can see the dates on the bottom. There will be one more in December. So I encourage people to give them a call, get a reservation if you're looking for something different to eat in Cottage Grove this winter. Up then next week is our famous Hail to the Bird 5K race. So this is a separate city event. The City of Cottage Grove is a sponsor of this race, but it is put on strictly by residents, which makes it very awesome, I think. So it's Hail to the Bird, Hale Avenue down by Hamlet Park. And this year marks their 11th anniversary, raising money to support the Friends in Need food shelf. The race does begin at 9 a.m. All participants must be registered ahead of time. So if you just go to activenet.com and Google Hail to the Bird, that is how you will register. It's not a part of the city. It's ActiveNet and then Hail to the Bird. T-shirts can be picked up the night before again if your family prefers to walk remotely and not attend Hamlet. So you can do either way this year, but we are walking in person on Thanksgiving beginning at 9 a.m. Through the Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, River Oaks is hosting a gift card special. So anybody who buys $100 in gift cards receives $20 free. There is a $300 per limit household, and those gift certificates or gift cards can be purchased right online on their website. So that's a great opportunity to start kind of that Christmas shopping and finish up what you need to get done before the holidays. Then as of Monday, and I'll mention this one, so as of Monday after Thanksgiving, the Holiday Lights home tour is gonna start. And I've kind of been nervous because like not a lot's coming in. And then all of a sudden today, we posted on Facebook and Cottage Grove just is on that Facebook. It was like not more than 4 minutes. I think we've gotten over 40 responses today because my email dings every time somebody submits, which I love. So we are probably looking at creating 2 maps like we did last year, kind of a North Pole and a South Pole is what we did last year. Both routes you'll be able to download on your phone and follow around. And both routes start here at City Hall. So the lights will be on as of Monday, November 29th here. And then you can follow the home tours. That'll go through the holidays. Then as of that Wednesday, the lights will be back off here because we are going to have our tree lighting here at City Hall. So it'll be a little bit different, a little bit normal this year for our tree lighting. We're inviting residents to come this year. It was virtual last year, so we're inviting you to come this year. We're only going to get the Park High School Choir, obviously the band. It's getting too cold for the band to be outside. And we're really hoping for photo ops with Santa. We're kind of going to make that a night of call based on the weather and how long people really want to be outside for. So the large Adirondack chair will be positioned back outside next to the Christmas tree, creating a group photo opportunity. And the mailbox will be back out as of next week too to drop your letters off to Santa to be delivered directly from the red mailbox, not the brown one, the red one on the sidewalk, directly to Santa. The CP Rail is not making its annual stop again in Cottage Grove this year. Just with everything still going on, they have opted to not have the train come through our communities again. So the Friends in Need food shelf still needs our help. I also am on the Holiday Train Committee, and our goal is $90,000 again this year. We were able to achieve that last year, so we set the same goal for ourselves this year. So as normal, you can still donate directly to the Friends in Need food shelf. You can donate online via PayPal. The Friends in Need has an account right on their website. And they're also still asking for lots of cash and paper donation items versus dropping off food. So I've seen lots of things popping up, different businesses in town saying, let's fill these pickups and all of that. So that they really are requesting paper products still at this point. So our big event that we did last year to kind of support that, we did a fill a fire truck. It will be held again December 11th. So there's a couple different things. So there's a virtual silent auction that starts as of Black Friday and will go until December 10th. There's over 100 items online from local businesses, residents, all sorts of stuff. So you can submit your, your bid online for those items. And then you can either pick them up either at the RE/MAX office, I know, at the food shelf, or you can pick them up at our Fill a Fire Truck Day. We have a drive-through event at Hamlet. That's what this is. So on Saturday, December 11th from 10 a.m. to noon at Hamlet Park, we will be there collecting your paper items, so toilet paper, paper towels, and cash. Again, no food. And then that's also a great opportunity to drive through and pick up your silent auction items. So you kind of pull up, show us what you want. We run in the building, we have it all numbered and organized, and we bring it right out to you. So it was very successful last year, so we are more prepared this year. As you know, paper towels take up a lot more room than, a bag of canned goods. So we are ready for it this year. It'll be another awesome event with the Holiday Train Committee. Also that same weekend, December 12th, River Oaks is once again hosting their Breakfast with Santa or Santa Breakfast, complete with the horse-drawn sleigh rides. It is, reservations are required, so we're really hoping people get the word out and don't just show up so that we can plan accordingly. But breakfast will be served from 9:30 to 12:30 down at the golf course. And they are also doing like a bonfire and s'mores outside with a part of that breakfast. So you can either, I don't believe you can register online. You do have to call the golf course directly to make that reservation for your group. And then last but not least, of course, Park and Rec, we want to remind everybody to get outside and play this winter. All of these amenities stay open all winter long. They still provide great social spacing for your family, depending on how the trends continue here as we move into the holidays and winter. So parks, trails, warming houses, skating rinks, sledding hills. And then once things are ready down at the golf course, the trails will be groomed for snowshoeing and cross-country skiing. And that's it in like 3 minutes. A lot going on.
There is a lot going on. I know you were mentioning about the holiday train that's not actually going to be here this year, but they are doing a virtual and online concert. And I was trying to look it up, but of course my phone's not working the greatest here today. But do you remember, is it the 11th or the 18th? It's a
I
Saturday.
can't remember. If you go to the Facebook page for the holiday train committee here, and we just posted it as an event this week.
Perfect.
But it
Okay.
is on there as an event that CP sent us the link for, so you can watch it either on the CP's website or go through our link on there to watch the live concert.
And they're hoping, after talking with them, that next year, once we can hopefully kind of
Yeah.
get through this COVID thing that seems to keep dragging on, that they can come back, because they really do want to come back with the train again.
Yeah. It makes a big difference in our donations. We were really, I think
Oh,
last
yeah.
year our goal was 70,000 and we were blown away that we did 90. So we have a great community here that still pulled through even though there was no train and lights and show in town.
Absolutely. All right. Council, any questions for Molly on this? Yeah, Councilmember Olson.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you to you and your team. I know that you put an awful lot of time and energy and effort into all of the various events for our residents to be able to get out, excuse me, to get out and enjoy the holiday season and frankly, just to enjoy the outdoors, even though it's a little colder than some people might like. Just to let you know the impact that you have. You've been advertising the open skates, and so my daughter has now been very adamant about the fact that Dad needs to take her skating. In fact, I think she wants to go Sunday because she's seen it online that it's available, and it got her very excited. So I know there's a lot of residents throughout the community who really appreciate the fact that we offer so many different things for so many different people, whether they're young people or, older people like myself who might want something a little low impact. You've got a good slate of events for everyone. And of course, the holiday lights are always a blast. And I want to put in a plug for Merry Christmas over here. If anybody watching this at home has not been by the mayor's house for holiday light season, when he's got it really fully put together and up and running, you will not find a better display anywhere. So
You don't even need to tell you his address. You will
No,
know
you'll
when
see
you
it.
drive by, you're
Yeah.
like, I bet this is what
Yeah.
Councilmember Olson was talking about.
yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. And we have a lot of people in the community who really put a lot of time and effort into that. I know in Hidden Valley, there's a house that does a really nice job too. So thank you so much for bringing all of this to the forefront, being here tonight to present, and for all the hard work and effort you and your team put into taking care of our residents and giving them those opportunities to get outside. It's one of our core values, as you know, and it's something that we all appreciate.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Council? Molly, thanks again for presenting all these things, and also, as Councilmember Olson said, helping get all these off the ground and working with you and the rest of the staff, so thank you. All right, Council, next on our agenda is consent. Is there anything that Council would like to pull on consent? Yeah, Councilmember Dennis?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to pull item O, which
Item-
is Planning Commission Chair appointment.
Okay, and I think Councilmember Olson, you had one too?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to pull item P.
Okay. Anything else? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and start with item O, which is, as you mentioned, Councilmember Dennis, a Planning Commission Chair appointment.
All right, well, thank you, Mayor. It's my pleasure as the council liaison to the Planning Commission, that I get the opportunity to assist with some appointments when we have opportunities open up. And so I would like to recommend Evan Frazier as our Planning Commission Chair. Evan is a great guy, very accomplished, professional. He is an attorney, which I really like that, and brings a great perspective to the panel. And for the last 3 or 4 years that he's been part of this with us, has done a really good job.
Absolutely.
Well respected by his fellow commission members as well. So it's my recommendation that we appoint him with the council's reinforcement here tonight.
Fantastic, thank you. And obviously, the reason we had to do that appointment is because there's somebody sitting down not too far from us here that got moved to the city council, so congratulations again. All right, Councilmember Olson.
Thank you, Mayor. Item P is a response letter to the Friends of the Mississippi River. This is a letter that I wanted to pull for some additional comment from our city attorney. We're very lucky to have a city attorney who is extremely well-versed in the law and serves several communities in addition to ours as a city attorney. So there's not much that she hasn't seen or been part of. I know that at least since the beginning of this year, when we started with the master planning process of the former Mississippi Dunes Golf Course, we have spent an awful lot of time trying to, answer questions and provide guidance and respond to different things that have been brought forward through the course of the conversation by the Friends of the Mississippi River, which is a nonprofit group. And most recently, we received another letter from the Friends of the Mississippi, and it prompted this response because there were several things included within the letter that I think made us all very uncomfortable. And being that, none of us sitting up here are an attorney, it's probably best if we leave it to the experts. So I was hopeful that Corey Land, our city attorney, and perhaps Jennifer as the city administrator, if she wants to chime in, could provide a little more color to the information that's included in this item.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the council, there's few issues I get more passionate about than planning and zoning. I cut my teeth at the Planning Commission in the first city that I represented, and immediately recognized not just the importance that it can require for a city to lay out proper planning and zoning tools so you can see your vision unfold before your very eyes as applicants come before you with things they want to do with their land, so that it develops as you see is appropriate for the long-term vision of your community. But secondly, land use regulations protect everyone. They protect not just the neighboring property, they protect not just the city, they protect the developer from the city. It protects the developer from arbitrary decisions made by the personalities at the dais today who may not like the application that's before them, but they have rules, and they have rules for a reason, and they have to follow those rules. So a couple things that when I received a copy of this letter from Friends of the Mississippi that just, I'm not sure they understood exactly what they were asking the council to do, and I felt that it was appropriate and really important to respond, that sometimes we have to protect developers and residents from government, and sometimes we just have to protect government. There is a process laid out in all of your guiding documents. You have your comprehensive plan, you have your zoning ordinance, and Mr. Khambata heard my speech probably less than a month ago. You have your zoning ordinance, your subdivision regulations, your comprehensive plan. These are long-term plans that you have thought about. You've had every commission and committee look at all of these rules and regulations so that you can adopt them, again, with as the elected officials, your policy being put into place. So we have these documents that then guide and are your roadmap for how applications are supposed to proceed. This is what developers, what property owners can look to and say, okay, this is what the city of Cottage Grove is going to require of me if I want to do something with my property. So we have all of these rules in place. Now you have an application. You have to apply your rules to the application. And sometimes it becomes hard and sometimes it becomes uncomfortable when you have a room full of people who hate this application. They really, really want to see something else for this property. But you are required to follow the process that is set out in front of you. You've laid those groundwork, you've laid out those rules. And to do anything else would be considered arbitrary and capricious by any court of law. So thing one is you have rules, and you have rules for a reason. As Mr. Khambata has heard me say, stick to your rules. So we have an application, we have things that are in motion already with the Mississippi Dunes property. You have to follow the process, and that's what you're doing. It's going to get bumpy, it's going to get awkward, and it's going to get uncomfortable. But I encourage you and I urge you, and I might have to remind you, please follow your rules. You have rules for a reason. The second, and I'm hoping that it was just an oversight on the part of the Friends of the Mississippi when they suggested that the city can put their thumb on the scale of a planning application or a zoning regulation and perhaps depress the market value of a property by not zoning it the way the property owner would like. That would be a violation of the U.S. Constitution. And the council knows that. You're not going to do that. The Fifth Amendment does not allow government to take property without just compensation. And by depressing the market value, by not zoning something, again, following your guiding documents and your rules, by choosing to not follow your rules so that you can maybe get the property cheaper, would absolutely be a violation of the developer and the property owner's constitutional rights. So I felt like it was really important to point that out in the letter. Again, I'm hoping that was just maybe a misunderstanding of what government can do. One of my partners likes to say, government should not be hurting people. And that goes for neighbors, that goes for residents, it also goes for developers. So hopefully that is what you were looking for, Councilmember Olson.
Yes, Councilmember Olson.
First of all, thank you for the explanation. It's not an explanation that's new to many of us, but it, I think, has tremendous value and tremendous impact. One of the things that we have to always remember as we sit here is that there's an awful lot we get exposed to that the general public may not see on a regular basis. Therefore, it is easy for the general public to hear something that sounds like it might be right from another outside entity, not in the city, and take a position based on misinformation. And misinformation is a virus, especially in today's day and age. We see it all the time, everywhere, especially in social media. And while I completely understand that everybody has a right to their own opinion, and certainly we do our very best to listen and respect all different points of view, as you stated, when it comes down to where the rubber meets the road, we have to follow the law. And property owners have rights, just like neighbors have rights, just like the city has rights. And those things are codified in law, and they've been tried and tested in the courts. And we know what the outcome will be should we choose to stray from the righteous path. We'll end up in court, we'll lose, and we'll end up paying damages, and the thing that we weren't in favor of will happen anyway. So it's always nice to be reminded, and I know that on occasion you have to tug our chain periodically to make sure that we're following the process the way that we should. But really what I want for the people watching at home to understand is that none of us who sits here walks into any meeting at any point in time with ill intent. What we do, however, is we try to remain very dispassionate, very objective. We try to look at the facts. You talked about arbitrary and capricious. We've heard that phrase hundreds of times. I think Steve hears it in his sleep, and it's one of those things that we're very cognizant of, that we cannot act in an arbitrary and capricious fashion. It simply can't be done. So, while I understand that entities like the Friends of the Mississippi may have some thoughts and opinions on this project or any other given project, some of the things that they suggested in their letter were pretty out of bounds from my point of view. Hence the reason that it was probably a good decision to send this letter through your office and have you explain it. And I'm grateful for your input. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Dennis, you want to add?
I do, thank you, Mayor. And, Corey, thank you for your very eloquent statement. I'm sure in some ways you might like to be a little bit more blunt, as maybe the rest of us at the table up here would like to. But here's the thing, folks. We've been trying really hard to share information with people. Not just any information, but truthful information, to make sure that our community understands, our community, specifically 55016 residents. Now, I'm going to be a little blunt for a second, because here's the thing. Many of the folks from this organization are coming forward, do not live here. They do not own a property, they do not pay a tax. They don't have the skin in the game that the rest of us do. So we had an opportunity tonight to swear in a brand-new council member, and he took an oath. He took an oath to do the right thing, to uphold the Constitution, to do things properly. We're not here, folks, to break the law. That's not what we do. That's not ever going to be our intention. And we are not going to drive the bus off the road and get our city and our taxpayers into a world of hurt because there's other people that think they know better than what the law is. So, sorry to be forward, but I'm to the point personally where I've kind of had enough of it. I took the oath. I will do what's correct. I will not break the law, and I will support the measures that we have before us here and do this in a means that if it were ever to be challenged, absolutely would stand up in a court of law. We're not going to be wasteful of our taxpayers' money. We're not going to bring shame and dishonor to our community. We're not going to do that. That's not who we are. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, sounds good. There's nothing more I think I need to add because I think you guys kind of, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, Mr. Tony Khambata.
As an avid outdoorsman and somebody who really appreciates the scientific nature area adjacent to the Mississippi Dunes, this application has been difficult for me to see people who I agree with in terms of preservation, and also leaning on my real estate background and knowing that we have a legal construct for a reason, and it is so that everyone gets a fair shake. Whether we like the outcome or not, we need to follow that legal construct so that at the end of the day, whether it be a single-family homeowner who doesn't like that their neighbor wants to build a skyscraper next to them, that wouldn't be allowed. Those homeowners are protected, and we look at every application with the same objectivity. Is this allowed? How has it been guided? And what is the permitted use for this property? And in this scenario, we had a willing seller and a willing buyer, and we needed to just keep it between the lines and make sure that the application meets what the city has previously guided that property for and previously allowed in other applications. It is disheartening to me to see a piece of property go away from public use. However, after having toured that site with other members of the Planning Commission, I was kind of appalled to see the level of disrepair it was in. I don't think that property in its current condition was benefiting anyone. And with what the Parks Commission has put forward for a proposal, access for people with disabilities, another access point for the city to have to the river, I think the property will be better serving the community through this development than through its current status. And as I continue here, again, we don't want to act in an arbitrary and capricious manner that may ultimately favor an outcome that we don't like anyway. So in what we do up here, it is not that we want or do not want an application to come forward. It's, is that application playing by the rules? And if it is, the city has limited tools for enforcement. And that's fair for everyone.
Okay, thank you. The only thing, and it's not even so much about this particular one, but it's also about the fact that we're releasing the draft of the EAW. And the one thing I just want to mention about the EAW tonight, which, as we talked about during the open forum part, is an opportunity for the public as well as other state agencies and that to offer, comment or insights in what they believe or should maybe possibly be within this property. The one thing I did want to ask, though, for the public to please do, if you decide that you want to read it, and by the way, I did. Matter of fact, our administrator was laughing at me because I was talking about some very specific things which is where I'm going with this, and that is, if you just kind of read it across the top, if you skim it, you're going to think, I'm just going to use this as an example, you're going to think that there's endangered species on that property down there. There isn't endangered species on that property down there. They talk about habitat that can support certain types of animals or insects or whatever that can support those things. It's not saying they're there. And so what I'm asking the public or whoever that's going to read this, read it for what it is. It's a document that talks about what they've looked at in this property. It talks about what might be on that property. It could be live, I guess, if you say, on that property, but it doesn't today. And so a lot of times you'll hear people, they'll go for what I'll call the buzzwords, it's historic or it's this, and it's like, because that'll be the other one I'll mention. There is a comment in there about historic properties within the area. There isn't, we're still checking on the house as an example, though, because I think that's what you were looking for earlier. The fact of the matter is, there is nothing else on the property that is historic. That has been checked, but we can't necessarily say where the historic properties are, but the way the law is written, that's what I'm looking at, Corey, in the process, you can say it's within a certain distance from this, but it is not on the property. Am I stating that correctly? Okay. So that's why I just wanted to share with the public, especially if you're going to take a look at the EAW, because if you do look at it just from a standpoint of breezing through it, you might think there's all these things that are, oh my goodness, this is bad. When actually, when you dig deeper into it and you read more into it about the different departments and the groups that are putting this EAW together, you'll come to realize that they talk about possibilities, they don't talk about actuals. So, Councilmember Olson.
Thank you. This will be my last comment on the subject. I've said this before, but I want to reiterate for the millions of people watching at home that we do not do anything in the dark in the city of Cottage Grove. Never. Every meeting that we have that is an open public meeting is recorded in some form or fashion. So for example, we'll have a workshop tonight that will be recorded on a audio recorder. So that's what we do. We're on camera. We have commission meetings. We have council meetings. We have periodic public meetings that don't fit within the confines of a commission or a council meeting, where we may go down to Hamlet Park as a group and participate in a meeting that some other entity is hosting, because we want to do what we do in the light. The other thing is, we all recognize that we are accountable, and we signed up for that. When you put your name on the ballot to run for this position, or when you apply to be appointed to this position, it comes with tremendous responsibility and tremendous weight. One of the things that you know is that no matter what decision you make, you're going to make someone angry. It's just going to happen. So whether we get it from one side or the other side or behind or in front, we know it's coming, because you can never make all of the people happy all of the time. And the public has the ability to fire us from this job at the ballot box, and we also know that. We have no compunction whatsoever to be offensive or to try to hide things, because number one, that's wrong. Number two, it doesn't fit with the job description. And number three, there are no secrets, and we know that. So it's really helpful when people have questions, thoughts, concerns, that they approach, whether it's the city staff or the city council with those questions, thoughts, concerns, that they do so in a manner that reflects no ill intent, because we don't work with the public with ill intent. We will tell you the truth. It might not be what you want to hear. It may not be what we want to tell you, but we'll always tell you the truth. And we recognize every single day that we do this job that we're accountable. We're accountable to close to 40,000 people. I live in the city too. Myron is my mayor. Steve Dennis and Tony Khambata are my council members. I get to cast a vote for those people, just like they get to cast a vote for me. So there's no secrets, there's no operating behind closed doors. We follow the process, we follow the law, and we will always do the right thing. It may not be the thing that people like, but it will be the right thing for the city. And with that, Mayor, I'll move that we approve consent.
All right, so I have a motion to approve consent by Councilmember Olson. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Khambata. Any further discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So if you happen to be here for anything on tonight's consent calendar, all of those items have been approved. Next on our agenda is 8 is approved disbursements. 8A is to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Motion by Councilmember Dennis. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Khambata. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 9 is public hearings. There are none this evening. 10 is bid awards. There are none this evening. 11 is regular agenda. We have one item this evening, and our Finance Director, Robin Rowland, will introduce our guest. And this is the sale of $3.98 million general obligation refunding improvement bonds of 2021B. So Robin, you want to take it away?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The sale of bonds today took place at 10 o'clock this morning. Ellers, our financial advisors, represented this evening by Shelley Eldridge, took bids. She's going to talk about the results of that sale. What I did want to mention for anyone who doesn't understand what we're doing when we say refunding bonds, the interest environment currently is very low. If you bought your house 3 or 4 years ago, you spent, money on it, it was a 4% interest rate, you've probably refinanced that loan by now because interest rates are so low. Similarly, when the city sells bonds, there is an opportunity at some point, unless it's a no-call bond, there's an opportunity for us to refinance if the interest rates drop to a point where it is the benefit of the city to do so. We are refunding bonds that were issued in 2013. They paid for the pavement management project and the Hinton Avenue project in 2013. At that time, the bonds were issued, and we got great rates, we thought, because before that, we had been paying 8%, 9%. We wound up with a 4% bond. 7 years into the bond, we have the opportunity to refinance it, and the way we do that is by selling cheaper bonds to pay off the first set. So with that, Shelley, you want to join me and explain how good things are?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members.
Shelley, I have to say, there's rarely a time that I'm even worried about having you up in front of us, because you always bring us good news.
Yes, good to see you.
Good to see you
Otherwise, I
again.
send somebody else.
That's exactly it, no.
So yes, as Robin indicated, we did take bids this morning at 10 o'clock, and you should have a sale day summary report in your packets. And we received 5 bids. And those 5 bids, there's a bid tab that shows the bidders and where they came in. We look at the true interest cost and do a comparison that includes looking at the coupon rates. It includes looking at the discount, which is like points on your mortgage. It also includes looking at the premium. And if you remember, a premium is like getting a rebate on your car where the coupon rates are a little higher, but you get money back to pay that down. So we were able to lower that bond when we originally looked at it. The original bond was $3,980,000. We were able to drop the bond because of that premium bid and some other cost savings by $140,000. So the bond that was actually sold is $3,840,000. So that's one of the places you were able to save some dollars, is we're doing less bonds. The true interest rate, the lowest true interest rate was 1.0042 on a 7-year bond.
That's unheard of.
7 years, 3.8 million for 1 point.
Crazy.
Yeah. The cover bid was a little bit higher. It was like 9 basis points or 0.09. The top four were within 13 basis points or 0.13 from the winning. There was one guy out there that clearly was not paying attention today, but so the highest bidder was kind of out there. So, but given how close the other 3 or 4 were, I think we did get I just messed up your computer. We did get a really, really good bid. So what exactly does that mean? Well, that means that over the 7 years, there's a savings of $309,000, which breaks down to about $44,000 a year, which is really good. It's real, 44 grand is a lot of money. So with that, if you've got, the winning bidder was Northland Securities along with United Bankers Bank and D.A. Davidson. So they went together and submitted that bid. So if you've got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them if I can.
Councilmember Olson?
Shelley, it's always great to have you here, especially when you bring such phenomenal news. And every time you're here, I ask you the same question. And that question is this: when we go to bond, there's always an analysis that's done by the various, brokers, et cetera, on our AA+ credit rating. And they either reaffirm that we're in that position and are doing a good job, or they tell us things that we don't like to hear that we need to fix in order to maintain that credit rating. So what's the word on the street? What, from this bond sale and all the analysis that was done, can you give us the Reader's Digest version of whether they still like our paper or not?
Well, you've got a 1.00% for 7 years, so the underwriters and the market likes your paper. We did go through another rating call. We had just done one in May for the Series A. There's not a lot that changed between May and now, and the bottom line is the things that the city is doing and the city has control over are right where you need to be. The things to get the upgrade, and they did affirm it, and it's a stable rating, which means they don't see a change for 2 years. But getting the information about the development and the new growth and what's going on in the city, the things that you really don't have control over is what's going to develop and when it's going to develop and when it's going to hit the tax base. But you do what you can to encourage that. Once that does hit the tax base and the city has a value at the threshold of the AAA, as well as another thing that you don't have control over is the wealth indices there. You can't say, well, unless you make $1 million a year, you can't move into Cottage Grove. So those are some of the things that the city does not have control over, but as the city grows and that market value and threshold gets to a certain point, then the AAA will be on the horizon.
Thank you.
So it's just, we're still waiting.
So stay the course is what you're saying.
That's exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
You're doing the things that you're doing the things that you can do correctly.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for coming and sharing with us this great news. And, I'm sure it'll be a little while before we see you again. But hopefully, as we keep, like you said, as we keep moving forward with the plans and such within the city, that AAA rating will be something that we can actually all celebrate somewhere down the road, maybe not that far down the road.
Knock on wood.
Yes, there you go. Thank you, Shelley. So Robin, what do you need from us?
We do need you to approve the resolution in front of you. The resolution was prepared at the 3.98. We need that resolution to be changed to the 3.84, if you would.
Yep. All right.
Mayor, I can make that motion for us. So, looking at the language here, adopt resolution 2021-147 approving sale of $3,840,000 of general obligation refunding improvement bonds of 2021B.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Dennis. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Khambata. Any further discussions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. There you go. Thank you. All right. Next on our agenda is council comments request. So we'll start with, I'm going to do a little differently because I do it kind of in the order from, but I'm going to start with you.
With me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're going to go like in, I actually told our Councilmember Khambata now that I was going to do it in like seniority order. So Councilmember Dennis, since you're the old timer on the council,
All
is that
right,
kind of
well,
funny?
you know, I'll wear that like a badge of honor.
There you
so.
go.
All right, well, thank you. First off, I wanted to take this opportunity to welcome Tony officially here to the city council. I think you're going to make a fine addition and represent both what we do here and our community with a lot of pride and a lot of honor. And I know you're going to do a great job, and we look forward to you bringing your expertise in the area of real estate and development and those types of things that could be very helpful for us at a time when we're obviously growing and getting really good paper returns here. So
Thank you.
good to have you here. And then second to that, speaking of paper, I did get a notice from the county today, showed up to my house, and it talked about the proposed taxes for next year, and I happened to notice that my property tax in the city went down over $40 from last year. So I know that's just proposed. We'll have to wait to see what the final number is, but that's a good thing, and I hope that's indicative of the work that we're doing here to spread the burden out, run a good business financially, and bring new opportunities to our business park and things like that that can help us to achieve a better value for everyone. So that's what
Fantastic.
I have. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Rosen? All right. Councilmember Khambata?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone on this council for your vote of confidence as duly elected members of our community. I don't take your decision lightly, and I hope to do as good as Lorraine did up here and continue the positive improvements we've been making and the smart decisions we've been making in order to earn a 1% interest rate on bonding, which is amazing. So I'm really happy with the direction that the city has gone in. I know that I differ from you guys in age quite a bit, and I hope that.
What's that about?
I hope I can bring a little bit of insight, for people that, might be young families and, kind of have my shared experience, and I hope I can bring a strong contribution over the next year.
All right, fantastic. Anything else?
That's all.
All right, there you go. So a couple things real quick. And one, it's funny because Robin's looking at me like, you're going to say something. I know you are. Councilmember Dennis was actually out of town, so most of us actually got our tax statements from the county late last week. So, but you were mentioning, we were talking a little bit about that earlier today. Robin was in your office, and if I recall, you were saying that the county actually, when they presented to the board, literally mentioned what percentage of households, and it was specific to Cottage Grove, correct?
Actually, they presented as part of their PowerPoint all of the communities. It
In
is
Washington County.
Yes, it is a chart that fills the page. It does everything they tell you not to do on PowerPoint, and that is be so small you can't barely read it. What you're referring to, though, is they list out all the communities, and then they list by category how much the property taxes in each of those communities went, how many properties went up, how many properties stayed the same, and how many properties went down. For Cottage Grove, for 2022, according to that PowerPoint from the county, 65% of the properties in Cottage Grove will see no increase, and 35% will see an increase of anything from 0 and above. It's pretty good for where we're headed. You will see that slide in our presentation on December 1st, and I'm looking forward to that evening.
So I stole your thunder early, is what you're
No,
trying to tell
I'm
me.
glad you did. I'm really excited. I've seen a number of property tax statements from people in the office, from the council, and I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing.
Yep, absolutely. That's why I just wanted to throw it up to make sure I stated it correctly for the public. So very, as we've been talking about up here, and the council we're all taxpayers too, so we want to try to keep it as low as possible or reduce if we can. But I do think this council's done, and our staff has done a great job of managing the expenses of the city, and obviously the bond rating that we just heard about signifies that we're a very strong city with good financial controls.
Terrific.
Sounds
Look
good.
forward to the December 1st meeting.
You got it. And then the last thing I thought I would just share with the public, it's funny because a lot of times people, social media, as Councilmember Olson said, can be, the good or the bad or the ugly. And for those that do kind of follow things on social media, a lot of times there's a lot of people like to tag me. And, if it's something I can actually answer, or I guess I'd say set the record straight, I'll try to do it. To give it. And matter of fact, Zach knows this because I've been talking to him about this. So I know a lot of people talk about open space as an example. If you're having a development and some trees come down in a particular development, there's people that get concerned about that. And I get it, because if you're used to driving down a road and you see a bunch of trees there and now they're gone, or a good chunk of them are gone, you're like, what the heck just happened? And I can assure you, when my wife called me about the very dead end of Jamaica Avenue, and you go make that turn to go to Woodbury, it's like, whoa, it's different now. So what I thought I would do, and what I have been doing, and it's been kind of fun so far, and Zach's actually been helping me with some statistics and even some pictures too, is providing some pics of different areas of our community that we as Cottage Grove and our council and our staff have asked or wanted to keep, natural. Whether it's natural, like literally a passive type park, or it might be even an active park, but pieces of the park that are left wooded or natural, whatever. And so what I've been doing, and I encourage people, I'm not saying this just to literally go to my Facebook page, because that's not the point of this, but it's watch for the pictures to come out, and then I'd love people to guess. And that's what's been kind of fun about it, is I'll snap some pictures out there and then say, okay, I don't say who the park is or where it is or anything. I just say, tell me where this park is or where this property is. And I haven't answered the most current one, which I really need to today, because I said I'd do it every couple of days. I haven't had a chance to yet. But for those that are out in the public right now that have been wondering and guessing, there's a couple people that did guess right on this one. And the one that's out there right now is Camel's Hump Park in Cottage Grove. The two prior to that was Antlers Ridge and Still Ponds Park, which Antlers Ridge and Still Ponds are fairly new parks. Camel's Hump has been there for a while. It's just we keep upgrading it more and more. And so I'm going to continue to do that. And like I said, Zach's been providing me with some information and also some pics of other parks, and some of them, frankly, that I didn't even realize. I mean, I knew we had the park, but I didn't realize it was how it was, I guess is what you would say. So frankly, even Antlers Ridge, for me to actually, I had to call Zach and say, okay, exactly where is this park here? Because it doesn't look like anything. The houses are all around it, but it's like, wow, it's just amazing on what they did. So I just wanted the public to be aware that we do care very much so about the future of our community, trying to keep natural spaces, connection between these natural spaces, and our guidance to staff has been very clear about that. And I do know we're still waiting for, I'm waving my pen at Jennifer, we're still waiting for the total percent of parkland to citizens in Cottage Grove, because we keep hearing we're one of the highest in the state of Minnesota, and we really are asking just to have that, so we can actually truly share with the public what that means, because that also does mean, and this is why I'm going to throw it out there real quick, and that is, with parks, even natural parks, there's maintenance. There's people that have to do things, and there's equipment that has to be replaced, and in past years, many years ago, but in my time with the city, budgets would come about, and the very last thing on the budget line was parks, because everything else took precedence. I'm looking at Zach, but Pete's right next to him. He's going, oh geez, he's going to point out police and fire. They always get first, and then it's public works. And so we've been working with Zach, and our staff has been to figure out how do we make sure that these various departments, specifically the parks, which all of us love and enjoy, make sure that they get their funding, if you will. But that comes at a price, you know, whether it's a tax increase or fees or more working with developers and that, which we're doing all of those kind of things. So I just thought I would throw that out there, and I'd encourage you, and if you are out there and you see a park that you really love, you know, share it with us. You don't even just share it with me, but you can, you know, reach out to our Parks Department, the City Hall or whatever, and share with us what you like about the different areas of the community, or even take your picks to see what it's all about. So I thought I would just share that as a food for thought. And that's it for this evening for that. We do have a workshop this evening, which is open to the public. We will be taking this in the training room, and this is a North Point Development workshop, which the council and staff will be hearing and talking with the development group for North Point. After that, there is no workshop closed to the public, so we won't be adjourning in here. We'll be adjourning in the training room. So on behalf of myself and everybody on the city council, I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you in December.